Welcome to Communion Architects podcast, Making It Happen. My name's Alex Copper. I'm Director of Communion Architects. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to this podcast. The purpose of the podcast is really because we feel that there is quite a lot of attention given to finished buildings and also the architects that are associated with those. However, much less is talked about in terms of the design process that turns ideas into designs, and then the construction process that follows immediately after that turns those designs into a built reality. We just feel that there's so much interest in these two processes, and yet they are processes that for many of our clients will be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. As we have developed Communion Architects, the feedback from our clients has been absolutely essential to ensure that with each project we look to get better and more competent in what we do. We also feel that it's a huge opportunity to open up these conversations in order to hopefully engage people before they embark on what will be and can be an incredibly exciting journey, and also prepare people for what lie ahead. The project that this interview describes is a really beautiful project. It involved working with a family in order to deliver for them a forever home that they'd taken a long time to find. It's interesting that when we listen to the story, the location was just perfect. However, the house that was on that location was slightly less than perfect and wasn't quite what was initially imagined. This is often the case, that when people buy a new house, there are aspects of the site and the existing house that just don't work for them. And this is typically when we get invited to give ideas and advise, how could we do this? How could we change that? The project that was delivered, I think, is just so beautiful and delivers a family space that works with the existing house just so well. What it looks to do is counterpoint a large, very substantial house with a very lightweight extension that is almost entirely made out of glass apart from the roof, that gives such a spatial experience of light, of views, and experience of the garden that adds so much to the experience of what is already a beautiful house set in a very beautiful location. We invite you now to listen to our client's story of how we worked with them to develop the ideas and deliver the construction process that made it happen for this project.
So we're Sophie and Chris. We've got 2 children and live in a village in Colwell. We moved here because of family and jobs, but we struggled to find a village in Herefordshire with a shop, a pub, a school, and that's why we ended up in Colwell. We moved here in the December, and it was all very dark wallpaper, dark carpet. So we spent a month with no furniture, that had a very small kitchen. We knew that we wanted a bigger kitchen, and learning to live with the house and where the evening sun was made us decide on this room, and talking to a couple of architects made us work out this was the room we were going to use in the area. Having this new space, we live in this one room and we have a spare sitting room, a dining room and 2 other rooms. So yeah, totally. We love it. We can see the garden, we can see the hills, we can see the view. Space that we've got now is so much better than we ever imagined. We've got the kitchen with the table, which is one thing, that's great. But just having the social space as well, with the sitting room and the wood burner, and we can enjoy the view and the garden now. We all spend time in the one room. Although now the children are a bit older, we have another room in case they want to watch something different to what we do. It's so nice to be able to cook and eat and have the kids doing their homework at the table in the same room. We just wanted the conservatory. Alex came up with the timber and metal effect, which we really liked. And we got the big soffits so you could have lighting, which again is another feature which we hadn't thought about, which is really nice, and we really like that. Totally changed the look of the house. We made the garage rendered as well, so it would all match. We always thought we'd have an architect. We spoke to a few. We chose Communion. Just the initial contact with Alex, he seemed to have more ideas, more in tune with what we wanted than anyone else on the initial contact. Once we'd chosen Communion, they do the initial drawings, and then you go from there deciding, yes, we want to pay for more drawings and ideas. We stuck to our budget that we wanted. We got perhaps less than we thought we would get for it initially, but actually I think we've got a much better design now than if we'd stuck with our original plan. Once they'd downsized the project to the agreeable level of finance, then they managed to stick to that. With the builders here every day, it's hard work having builders. Even though they closed off the house, they weren't in our house. Just having them there, you feel you've got to be up and around just in case. So it's just quite hard work having them here, and they always ask you something, even if it's not technical. So you always have to chat to them. They were very good, but it was still quite tiring. We went out to tender to about 4 or 5. They started in the September and they finished in March, mid-March. So it was about 6 months, and that's what they said it would be. So it was pretty bang on. There was a few little bits and pieces still left, but we were in the kitchen and I finished the garage then. We chose the wood burner because we've got one next door and we like the company. Bit contentious, but we really wanted a fire, and Alex made it work. The builders weren't too happy about it, but we're really pleased. Where we want the TV in the room is right blocking the view of the garden and the hills. So Alex has come up with a big unit and a big hole in the ground, and we press a button and the TV rises and then it can go away. We just went to a glass manufacturer about the doors and the fact that we wanted, instead of bifolding doors, we wanted the sliding doors because we get the bigger panels, so we didn't have so many bars down blocking the view. And it also meant we could have the nice oak pillars. They are so easy to open, which is why we chose them, and Alex recommended the company. And we went to their showroom and saw them and really pleased with them, really pleased. We went to the slate companies and chose the slate for the patio and the fire. That was our own choice. I think Alex might have recommended a few and we went round and chose. Chris was very involved with all the lighting and the sound because that's what he wanted, and the blinds. We would recommend Communion. Easy to deal with, upfront. If we had issues with the builders, he would pop round and just see what was going on.
I love listening to these interviews. I feel that they say so much, and it is so important for us at Communion Architects to hear from our clients in their own words, describe both the design process, the construction process, but also the transformational effect that architecture has on their lives. Our vision statement is transforming space, transforming lives, and it is great to hear the effect of what that vision delivers for people. The difference that architecture has made. Our sometimes lofty words have made a real difference to their lives on site. I think there are a number of points that I enjoyed about the interview. The first was the value of the design and the planning of the project up front. As was discussed, there was quite a lot of work carried out in the initial design stages in order to ensure that the project could be delivered for the budget that our clients had. They stuck to their budget. We worked closely with our clients to look at options in order to deliver the plan that worked for them. One of the issues that we find time and time again when we're involved in working closely with clients to deliver their projects is that construction generally costs an awful lot more than people expect. We've come up with a series of strategies to ensure that we can meet clients' aspirations within the budgets that are available. One of the key strategies that we use is that before we look to add any space, we look to their existing space to see how we can use the space that people already have to the maximum benefit. People tend to overestimate how much additional space they will require. By using the existing space that they have more effectively and not needing to build as much, we can still deliver for our clients' needs within their budget. And it was great to hear how this had worked in this particular project. Although time was spent up front working with architects, if you can get these things right at the beginning of the project, then you know that these are secured as they are delivered on site. And this was also the case within this project, that the discipline that we had in terms of time and money in planning the project allowed the project to be delivered within the time and the money promised on site. It was obviously fantastic to hear how much the space was enjoyed. Part of our design process is also considering the light, the views, and the experience of the new spaces. It's often the case that existing buildings do not properly take account of their setting. In this interview, we heard that the existing building only looked in upon itself, where one of the key values of the site was the views to the Malvern Hills. And so much of the experience of the new space is the view of the hills, but also the light and the volume of space that has been delivered. A small reference was made to an additional building that was also delivered as part of the project. The property, being slightly older, didn't have a garage, and therefore we looked to deliver this as part of the project. And this helped tie the whole scheme together in terms of the external works, the garage, and the house itself. Since the design of the building used glass extensively, the choice of the glazing system was particularly important. And it was great to hear how successful the sliding door system was. People are very familiar with bifold doors, but often we will look at sliding doors in contrast to bifold doors, since they are so much easier to use and there is much more glass than frame presented, which in the case of this extension, when there is such a good view to have beyond the extension, being able to deliver larger areas of glass is a real advantage. There were two particular design features that were important to deliver as part of the space. The first of these, where to put the log burning stove. It's our experience that when you furnish a room, there can only really be one point of focus. In contemporary spaces, we look to locate both the television and the fire in that same location. In this case, that was even more difficult since we didn't have a wall to put it in. In terms of the fire, we solved this problem by placing the wood-burning stove in front of the view. Our clients can enjoy the ambience and the character of the stove, not to mention the warmth, whilst still enjoying the view beyond. And in terms of the television, that took quite a lot of design, but the drama and the excitement of seeing the television rise out of the floor always brings so much enjoyment to everyone that uses the space. We trust that this has been an enjoyable listen. If you're looking to develop a design for an extension, a house, or any kind of building, I trust that this has given a little more insight into the processes of design and construction, but also the transformational effect that architecture can have. Many thanks for your time, and whatever project you're planning, we wish you the very best as you take it forward.